Hello, my crafty friends. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about using a drum carder to prepare wool for spinning. On my live stream, I was talking about that I was going to be doing a program for our weaving guild about this, and there was some interest, so I decided I would just show you. There are lots of different preparations that you can do to get the wool ready to spin. I don't happen to have any roving, which was what brought the whole subject up in the first place, was that Marydell said she had some roving, um, and she asked if I could spin it. And yes, you can spin roving. That just happens to be one thing I don't have right now. This is top. This is top that's not dyed, and they call it that because all of the fibers are lined up straight and even, and so that's the to get the finest, most even yarn you get from top. This is top that has been dyed, and I bought it from someone who dyed it, and it's felted a little bit, so it's not really easy to spin, which means you have to draft it to get it ready to spin. And I didn't the color's not quite what I thought it was, and so I've used it more for demonstration than anything because it's not something I was really wanting yarn out of. So I'm going to use that to show you all this. This is wool that has been washed, and that's it. It's the way it looks right off the little sheet. This little sheep had some, his wool is, it's not the best grade you can get because it's kind of breaking apart at the end and it's very short. See how short this is? That's pretty short for wool. If I take this and I pull some out, see, these fibers are about that long, probably 3 or 4 inches long. This is much, much shorter. And I wouldn't normally mix short wools with long wools. It's okay if you're doing it in a bat and you don't want perfect yarn, but the more smooth you want your yarn to be, you probably wouldn't want to do that. Um, what I'm going to show you though is how to mix something unique, and that's one of the things the drum carder is really good at. Is it's also good for opening up locks like this and making them easier to spin. And so that was probably why it was first developed, was to do this. And then people realized they could take dyed wool, they could take top, they could take silk, they could take all kinds of things and mix them together. It works the best if you kind of opened up your wool just a little bit. And I'll just lay it right there and let me get a little bit more. And you just kind of are pulling it apart, picking it, just loosening it up a little bit so it's not quite so tightly bunched up. And the drum carder does attenuate the fibers somewhat. It does pull them on sort of straight, but not straight like it would through the big machines that make the top. Not as straight as it would if you were using wool combs. They would comb it perfectly straight. This doesn't make that that straight of a wool. Then you just turn your machine and it starts putting the wool on. And this is an old machine and it's kind of acting cranky, to be honest. And then you can I know this sounds loud, sorry. And that just kind of encourages the wool to lay down in there, plus it packs it down so you can get more wool on there. And then I'm going to take some of this that's the white, and I'm just going to do this, straighten it, stretch it out a little bit. Then we're going to put it on. Let's go ahead and do a little bit more. It's a lot of fun to mix. My table's not very sturdy. but it's the only place I could set up my camera easy. So now we've got the brown and the cream on there. Now I'm going to have to kind of open this up a little bit even to pull some off. You can see how hard that would be to spin because it's just enough felted that it does not want to separate. Now I'm going to put this in there. Let's help it a little bit here. Come on. This machine obviously needs a new belt, and I don't know about how to get one, so I'm kind of having to baby it a little bit. Okay. And you can see if you look here how we've got kind of a mottled bat. And that's good because that means that when we're spinning the fibers will, you'll have some that will spin a little bit that's pink and a little bit that's brown, a little bit that's cream, and then it'll go back and forth, and some of them will be mixed and some of them will be little areas that's just one color, and that just gives your yarn more interest. One thing about doing this though is that you'll never make this exact yarn again. Now there are ways to make it similar by measuring out how much of each color you put in each round, and then having that written down so you can repeat it, and measuring out weighing out your wool so you know exactly how much you're putting in there. But I'm more of a free spirit when it comes to this kind of thing. Come on. Okay, now you've got big bumpy places like that right there. That's a really big bumpy place. And if you like perfectly smooth yarn, you're not going to want to do this because it just won't make perfectly smooth yarn. Another way you can put it on is what they call painting it on. And you just do this and let it pull some out. Let's pull a little bit of that off. And this makes it even less even. So once again, you're, giving a little more interest to your yarn. I'm going to open this up a little bit. Try to make it where it'll come off there, and we'll paint a little bit of this on there too. Let's see what happens. Ooh. I'm trying to just you can kind of woo, that got a big bunch. You can kind of try to make it even by going back and forth in the spots where it looks like it's not as full. There's another fiber prep called carding that you do with hand cards that we'll do something similar to this. Then you make rollags that way. Okay, we're going to take this off now. And there's a place right here where there aren't any teeth. And that's where you pull it up. And you just want to pull it a little bit at a time. And this is not a very big bat. I could put a lot more wool on here, but it's just a sample to show you. So, and then once you've got it separated like that, you can just kind of have to help it a little bit, especially this first time where it's not as cohesive a bat. And part of that is the mix of links in your fibers. And you can probably see on here there's some hay and stuff still in it. You can wash and wash, and you can even buy top that's been processed in a factory, and it's still got some vegetable matter in it. That's just sheep like they like grass and hay, so even dirt. Okay, so here's our bat. First time around, there's the bottom, there's the top. And what I'm going to do is split it like into thirds. Now you could do it just like this and spin it, but I want it just a little bit more integrated than this. So I'm going to just strip it into thirds, and then I'm going to put it back on here. We're just trying to spread it out a little as it goes in. You got to be kind of careful because these teeth on this thing are pretty sharp. Another reason to work with clean wool. Alrighty, let's. We're gonna. I'm kind of retarding the movement of this a little bit. That helps it go on more evenly. But if you do it too much, then it just wraps itself around here, which is what's happened to me before. You saw me having to pull it off. It's one of those things that when you don't do this very often, you have to kind of practice again, which is one reason I'm doing this video, so that I can practice before I do it in front of the guild. This one I'm going to do this way, which is the opposite of how I did the other ones. Okay. Now we'll pull those off again. And this should be, mixed up a little bit better. Each time you do this, you mix it up a little bit more. And if you keep going, you'll get it until it's so integrated that you don't see a lot of the individual colors anymore. And I don't want to take it that far. But 2 or 3 times might be good. Okay. Just when I think it's going good, I got a piece that sticks. Okay, and here's my bat. You can see it's more evenly integrated in there now. There's still some neppy stuff and still some concentrated spots of different colors, but that looks a lot more interesting to spin than just this, or just this, or just this. So, I am going to show you some other fiber prep methods in other videos. This is just one, and this is just one bat. There are, I'll probably do, if y'all like this, I'll probably do some videos where I show adding some silk in and adding some little pieces of yarn and some Angelina and different things like that to make a really artsy kind of yarn. This is a very simple bat, about the simplest you can do besides just using one color of wool or something. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'm also gonna do a video on how to make your own spindle, and then we're gonna do a live stream on how to spin with a spindle, a hand spindle. Let me get one and show you what I'm talking about so you'll know. Okay, these are the two that were the quickest for me to find. This is one I made, my steampunk spindle, and this is some yarn that I've spun on it, and it's just this is actually from the wool off of a sheep that I bought the whole fleece, and I washed it, and that's what this is. It's from that fleece. And then this is another one that I made, and the one that I'm going to teach y'all to make be with a toy wheel like this and a dowel rod. It's real easy. Anyway, it's not hard. You can do it like this, where you put a notch in it, or you can do it with a little hook. The hook's easier, so that's probably the one I'll show you how to do. But or I may show you both, and you can decide if you want to build one. You can decide how you want to do it. Alrighty, yay! Nice fluffy little bat. Squishy. Oh. Well, I'm going to let you go, and we'll have another fiber prep video coming soon. God bless you. Bye-bye.